Welcome to Health Coach for Women. Intentional living for more happiness and fulfillment in your everyday life with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. Join Marsha as she shares her own personal wellness journey, as well as stories from our guests that will enlighten and inspire you to move towards better health and happiness. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Welcome to another episode of Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore alternative and holistic solutions to better health and wellness. And I am your host, Marsha. Now, before we get started, I'd like for you to go ahead and hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Okay, I have a very interesting topic for you today that I want to discuss. Real food doesn't have ingredients. Real food is ingredients by Jamie Oliver. Okay, so let's talk about real food for a moment. Do we even get real food anymore, right? How much of our food is really 100% food, right? Oh boy, we could talk about so many things. When we look at food, we know that many of our foods come in a box, right? But we try to go and try to eat as many whole foods as we can. And some will even say, well, you know what? Nothing's good for you anymore. Nothing's really safe. There may be some truth in that, maybe, right? It all depends on how you look at things. But because you have people growing organic food, right? You have farmers and people who grow organic food, right? And that's including their own livestock of chicken, cattle, whatever. You have people that have these homesteads now where they want to grow and raise their own food because they feel like it's better, it's safer for them. And so it is to each his own, right? But when we look at food and especially when let's look at, for example, the greens, right? The whole foods such as greens. When we look at stuff, we even have to examine the soil. And so that's why it's so important that we do things to cleanse our body. We do things on a daily basis to keep our system healthy, even though it's doing its own job on its own, right? But this is how I actually got started on my journey, right? Which is looking at food, looking to see, what were some of the things that may have been causing me to have my health issues, right? And so that I was vitamin D deficient, and also dealt with heavy, long periods where I bled for a month straight, right? And so even with that, it wasn't even a menstrual cycle. It was just that I just continuously just kept flowing and flowing, right? And having the 2 procedures that I had, where it eventually went back to normal, so to speak, right? And so, but this is how I got started on my whole journey and looking at food and uncovering a lot of things that I found years ago. But I started looking at food differently. I started looking at the way food is actually made, right? Let's talk about the foods and is grown and is consumed in the United States, but is actually banned in other countries. I want to take a look at first the dyes, right? I want to first take a look at the dyes. So what are some of the dyes that we find in food? Red, number 40, yellow, number 5, and number 6, right? And so these are the 3 that I want to talk about, right, for this episode. So now these artificial dyes are commonly used, of course, in the US, but they have been banned or have some restrictions, because I found that they've placed some restrictions in certain places, right? Where they issue at least a warning label. So thank you for the European countries who are at least putting a warning label. Thank you. All right. And so these dyes are or tend to have potential adverse effects on children's behavior and health, including autism, as well as ADHD, right, with their attention span. And so what they're saying about these dyes also, that they are cancerous. So these dyes contain benzidine, right, which is a human and animal carcinogen, which the FDA allows, permitting it presumably to be safe levels, at low safe levels. This is what they're saying. But they have banned these in other countries, or placed some restrictions on them. Now, knowing that, to me, why would they even allow it anyway at low levels? So if it's safe at low levels, and if there's a child who consumes a lot of it, maybe daily, which they shouldn't, but let's just say that, wouldn't that have an impact on their health? Wouldn't it have an impact? So it doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, so this is what they're saying, right? And this information, actually what I found on the NCBI, which is the National, I'm trying to think the name of this thing. This is a government website, by the way. So this is on the National Library of Medicine, right? And if you go to actually the FDA, which I went to the FDA, I actually went to their website as well. They provide you with a list of foods, right? GMO crops, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. We'll come back to that. But they provide you the list of all the GMO foods, right? So anyway, back to the dyes. These dyes are known to be cancerous because it contains benzene. Did I say it correctly? I hope I did. Let me go back to that. So benzene, I have my notes here. So, which is cancerous, okay? So it's known to be cancerous. So I don't even understand why they would even, find it to be necessary to put these things in here. But anyway, so that's it with these dyes. So it says that it's in low doses. They say it's in low doses. You be the judge, okay? So these dyes can be found in Skittles, Fruit Loops, even Jell-O. What else? So there's a whole list of stuff. Anything with all those food colorings, those Debbie cakes, that was on the list. There was a few things on there. All of those little things with the dyes. Gatorade. So, I think they should just be avoided altogether. So the next one on the list is RBGH, which is recombinant bovine growth hormone. Okay. And so this is used to increase milk productions in the cows. And it's been approved, of course, in the US, but it's been banned in other countries. Okay. Other countries, including Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and European Union, due to its concerns about impact on animal health and potential effects on human health. Now, when I did a little bit more research, I found that the RBGH can cause issues with the animals. And some of those issues that I found were, they had a 50% increase in the risk of lameness, is what it's saying, leg and hoof problems, 25% increase in the frequency of udder infections. So the udder is actually the area where the cow produces this milk, where the milk is squeezed from. So mastitis is what it's called. So they also have reproductive problems, such as infertility, cystic ovaries, fetal loss, and as well as birth defects. Okay, and this, I got this information from the Center of Food Safety. Okay, this is from the Center of Food Safety. So this is a growth hormone that we use here, that's consumed here by us, right? If you eat meat and beef, right? Specifically beef, because this is the growth hormone that they use. This is what they found. So this is why it's been banned in other countries, yet it's safe here. So what I'm trying to figure out, the question is, how come it's safe here in the US, but several other countries have found it to be unsafe? That's why it's banned. Okay. So it's like anything goes in the US, right? And so why do we have such a high rate of cancer? Why are so many people, and even young as 35, as young as even younger than that, getting cancer, or even the children that gets cancer? I just don't understand. You have to wonder, what is it? Right? And where could it be coming from? What is the main thing that we do most is eat, right? We do on a daily basis, right? For the most part. It's in the food, everything that we consume. Now, the next thing that I wanted to discuss that's on the list also is chlorinated chicken. So what is chlorinated chicken? So this is something that they use, that they pour over the chicken carcasses as an antimicrobial treatment. Okay, and it says it's allowed in the United States, but it's banned in the European Union, as well as several other countries. And it's the concern is the chlorination, right? The concern is the chlorination, because they're saying that it masks poor hygiene practices in the poultry farming, but the chlorination. So when they pour this chlorine over the dead carcasses, I guess to try to kill the germs and things like that, what do they do then? Do they then wash off the chlorine from the chicken? I don't know, guys. I don't know. If you know, somebody tell me. I don't know, right? And so chlorine is a chemical, right? Chlorine is which they use in pools, right, to keep down the bacteria and stuff in the water. But we don't drink it. We shouldn't be drinking it. Of course, yes, it's in our tap water as well, right? We know it's in our tap water as well as fluoride and what other chemicals that's found in there. I talked about that on the last episode about the contaminants that I found in my water, right, here in Ohio. It was about 13 contaminants, right, found in the tap water in where I live. So we have to be more mindful. We got to make better choices, right? And so I know that some people, you may not be able to change everything, but just small changes, right? And so that's why we have to do our due diligence, read these food labels, do the best we can, and making sure we take care of our bodies the best way we can, so we can eliminate these things out of our bodies, so we can get rid of these things out of our bodies. And one of the ways that the body detoxes is by getting rest. That's why sleep is important. And so your body will do its thing on its own, but the more that you can do to help it is even better, right? And so the next thing I want to talk about is genetically modified organisms, right? And they also use the term for bioengineered. You would also notice, I think I had purchased some bread and it said, I forgot what brand, but it said bioengineered. So of course, I put it back. But a lot of these things are genetically modified and they're using different names, for the same thing, right? And so really the best bread is the bread that you can pretty much learn how to bake on your own. Right. And so that's how it was back in the days, right? You didn't go to the store and buy bread, you baked it. So that's one of the things for me that I want to learn how to do. I want to learn how to make my own fresh bread, right? Using organic flour only. All right. So again, this was on the FDA website that I found. They provided you with the list of the genetically modified organisms. And they have a list of, well, we know corn is one of them, right? Now, this is what they're saying on there. I'm reading exactly from their website. Okay. So let's see. Only a few types of GMO crops are grown in the US, but some of these GMOs make up a large percentage of the crop grown. Example, that's what they have: soybean, corn, sugar, beets, canola, and cotton. Okay. So this is what it says. It says in 2020, GMO soybeans made up made up 94% of all soybeans planted. And I think I put this in my book as well, the percentage in my book, Transcendence, right? I talked about that, and this is what I discovered, right, in doing my research, that's a lot. That's so almost all of the soybeans that you eat, all of those salad dressings, all of those, it's in everything, guys. It's in a lot of things, right? The soybeans, 94% of it is genetically modified. It's saying right here on the FDA's website, fda.gov, right? The Food and Agricultural Services. And 92% of corn planted was GMO corn. So what's the feed that they feed the chickens? What's the feed that they feed the cows? They're feeding them 92% of corn, okay? So genetically modified corn, all right? And so this is crazy. And so they have it here planted for you to see. It's there on their website, okay? Here's another one, potato. Some GMO potatoes were developed to resist insect, pest, and disease. In addition, some GMO potato varieties have been developed to resist bruising and browning that may occur when potatoes are packaged and stored and transported. All right. And then this is another one, papaya. Right now, mind you, papaya is a proteolytic enzyme which contains papain, and it can help with digestion as well as help with reducing inflammation. All right, so let me go back here. What else? That's on the FDA website. This is all of their stuff that they have. You can go there for yourself and check it out. Summer squash. GMO summer squash is resistant to some plant viruses. Squash was one of the first GMOs on the market, but it is not widely grown. Okay, so you kind of like, you may or may, unless it says that it's organic, and even with organic now, it may contain at least some percentage, a small amount, about 28% of some type of residual pesticides. So you have to wash your vegetables, okay? So canola, right? That's another one. Canola is used mostly in cooking oil and margarine. And it says can be used for food for animals. It's used in many packaged foods to improve consistency. Most GMO is resistant to herbicides and helps farmers to more easily control weeds in their fields. Now, the other one is alfalfa, right? Alfalfa, it says it's primarily used to feed cattle, mostly dairy cows. Yeah, cows. Even if the cows are not getting corn, they're getting alfalfa, genetically modified alfalfa. It's resistant to herbicides, allowing farmers to spray the crops to protect them against destructive weeds that can reduce alfalfa production and lower nutritional quality of the hay. All right, so apples. A few varieties of GMO apples were developed to resist browning after being cut. This helps cut down on food waste, as many as consumers think brown apples are spoiled. And, if you leave your apples out, I cut some slices and less than a minute or two, they start turning brown, right? But the apple is still good. All right, sugar beets. Oh boy, I'm not going to go through all of this. All right, so I'll just read these last two. Sugar beets, they're used to make granulated sugar. More than half of the granulated sugar packed for the grocery stores are made from GMO sugar beets. Okay, they're resistant to herbicides. Growing GMO sugar beets help farmers to control weeds in the field. Pink pineapple, I've never heard of pink pineapple. I don't know. Pink pineapple was developed to have pink flesh, increasing the levels of lycopene. Lycopene is a naturally found in pineapples, okay? And it is the pigment that makes the tomatoes red and watermelons pink. Okay, we all know, and they don't have on here tomatoes, but we know that they have genetically modified tomatoes, and they also are actually seeing them talk about that on the television, that they were introducing genetically modified strawberries. So really, unless your fruits and vegetables, unless it's say organic, 100% organic, you run the risk of getting some things. Only thing I can say is to do the best you can. This is why I'm saying some people are now growing food, right? Their own food because of this stuff, right? So it's banned in other countries, but we're allowing it here. So people are saying, you know what, I want to get a homestead. I just want to raise my own animals and get my food in the backyard, grow my own fruits and vegetables and just do it on my own. But, they want to do that because they feel like this is the only way that I know where my food has been. And so I totally get it. But did you know that if you have a garden, you're supposed to report it to the government? They're supposed to know that you're growing your own food. They're supposed to know this, right? So they want to be in on everything that you're doing, what you're doing, how you're doing it. Listen, I'm not saying I'm against government, right? You have to have government rules and regulations for things to enforce so that people can follow rules, right? So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, what's wrong if we want to grow our own food? Why do we have to report it to you? And if we want to report it to you, what, you want to charge us an extra tax or something because we grow our own food? I don't know, guys. I'm just putting it out there. I don't know. You tell me. Okay. So I'm going to move on to the next thing. All right. So let's see. And so GMO foods are banned in some countries, right? Some places in Europe, they're banned, right? Let's see. BHA and BHT. I talked about these before. Of course, I can't pronounce them properly. Butylated hydroxyanisole and butylated hydroxytoluene. These are preservatives. Basically, these are preservatives to extend the life of processed foods, which they allow in the US. Of course, again, banned in some European countries, right, due to potential health concern. Okay, so these preservatives is saying that they also could be found in personal care products, right, including lip and hair products, makeup, sunscreens, and shampoos, deodorants, fragrance, and creams. The BHA are also found in food products such as cereals, snack foods, and processed meats, and can even be found in the lining of food packages. BHT is also toluene-based, is also a toluene, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, toluene-based ingredient, which is part of called toxic trio. This is on Made Safe, good grief, I can't talk, Made Safe website. Toxic trio, commonly found in nail polish and is linked to a reproductive harm. So why are so many people having infertility issues? And you just have to figure it out yourself. And it's saying that BHT and BHA, they're chemical cousins, and they're linked to a wide range of health concerns, right? That could be why the European Union has said it's banned in their country, right? Including organ system toxicity, skin irritation, and more. And they're anticipated to be human carcinogen. So there's also evidence of endocrine disrupting effects, right? And go back to one of my podcasts where I talked about hormone disruptors, endocrine disruptors. I have a list on that there, but I also talked about another one where I talked about your hormones. And there's a list. There's so many. I can't remember all of them. There's just so many, right? That's in our food, in the products, in our chemicals that we use every day. There's just so many, right? But I just want you to be aware of these are the things that the FDA, the government, they say it's safe, yet it's banned in other countries, right? Okay. So the next one that I want to talk about is potassium bromate. Potassium bromate now is a food additive. It's used to improve the dough strength and texture in bread and baked goods. Again, approved in the good old USA, right? But banned in many countries, including the European Union, Canada, Brazil, and China due to potential carcinogenic properties. Bromates, especially potassium bromate, is a food additive used to improve dough strength and texture in baking, right? So it's classified as a possible human carcinogen by the agency, the International Agency for Research on Cancer, meaning it may increase cancer risk in humans. Let me read that again. Potassium bromate is a classified, right? So they classified it as a possible human carcinogen by the International Agency of Research on Cancer. So this agency, they research cancer and they research all these chemicals and foods and things, whatever, that can be a risk to humans. And that's what they found, right? So it is sometimes used in the production of bread and other baked goods, and it has been a topic of concern due to its carcinogenic properties, right? And so this I found, this was on New Jersey government website, right? And so also I wanted to say that the state of California has also posed a ban on these products, right? On some of these products where it is known to be a health risk to humans, right? They're posing a ban. So hopefully once they can get this ban passed, that the other states will follow, right? And so if one state can make a difference, then hopefully we can get the other states to follow. So it's saying that they can pass this article. It was saying that California could ban certain food additives due to concerns over the health impacts, right? And here and they're showing you, with the food dyes, talking about under the, okay, I'm gonna read this here for you. All right, under Assembly Bill 418, red dye number 3, as well as titanium dioxide. I haven't got to that one yet. That's on my list. Titanium dioxide, potassium bromate, brominated vegetable oil. That's on my list. And propylparaben would be outlawed in the manufacturing, distribution, or sale of goods in the state. So I'm hoping and praying that it gets passed, because once it gets passed there, I'm hoping that other cities will follow suit. Okay, I hope that they will follow suit. So it says the bill cites academic studies that link those ingredients to an increased risk of cancer in animals and negatively impacts children's behavior and the immune system and reproductive system in rats. California, it says California shouldn't have to worry that their food, California shouldn't have to worry that the food they buy in their neighborhood grocery store might be full of dangerous additives or toxic chemicals. That's all of us, guys. We should be feel the same way in every state, in every grocery store that we go to in the US, okay? I start to get a little emotional here and a little fired up because it just angers me when people are just so greedy and all they could think about is profits, quick and efficient ways to make things, and they have no care or concern about the consumers of these products, right? About the people who are eating these, right? And brominated vegetable oil, BVO, is one of them. It's been linked to numerous health hazards and including doing harm to the nervous system. Okay, yet it's found safe. So the information I found was on the environmentalworkinggroup.org, which is EWG.org. What I was saying was bromine is known to be an endocrine disruptor, which means it can interfere with hormone function in the body. Studies have suggested that BVO may accumulate in the body fat and potentially lead to the negative health effects. So what it does, it's in the fat itself, including disruption of thyroid hormone balance and reproductive hormones. All right, so due to these concerns, the use of BVO as a food additive has been banned, restricted, or banned in several countries, such as the European Union, Japan, and India have prohibited or limited its use for food and beverages. All right. So let's move on to the next one. Another one that was on that list for California that they were wishing to ban is titanium oxide. All right, so what is titanium oxide? Titanium oxide is a common food additive used in whitening agent in various food products. Okay, also known by its E number, E171. Titanium dioxide is used to give a bright white appearance to foods such as candies, baked goods, sauces, and coatings. All right. However, there have been concerns about their safety as a food additive. All right. Some studies show that these conducted on animals have suggested that high concentrations of titanium dioxide nanoparticles may have adverse effects on health. These include potential inflammation, oxidative stress, and genotoxicity. Genotoxicity. Okay. All right. So with titanium dioxide, it's generally safe by regulatory authorities, which is FDA in the US. Some countries have implemented restrictions or bans on these products. Example, in 2020, the European Food Safety Authority classified titanium dioxide as a food additive that cannot be considered safe for consumption based on available data. As a result, the use of titanium dioxide as a food additive is now prohibited in the European Union, okay? Based on available data. So what is the data? They found information where they don't find it safe. It's not safe, yet it's safe in the US. Yet it's safe in the US, okay? So I tell you, you got to see, when you start digging, you start doing your research, you find a lot more than what you wanted to find out, but I'm not going to touch on that subject. All right, so it's important to note that titanium dioxide is ongoing and there's still some scientific debate on its certainty regarding its potential health effects. So that's what they're saying. All right. And so let's see if I covered them all. And I mean, this was a lot, this was a lot. I mean, there's more things here, but this topic for this episode is basically the food ingredients and things that are banned in other countries, but yet used here in the US and as deemed as safe, right? And so you can get to make your own assessment and your own judgment, right? So I already went over all of most of the topics with you as far as the bromates. And now, did I mention that potassium bromate, that they can be found in a list of foods such as bagels, bread, crackers, donuts, English muffin, pastries, pizza crust, pizza dough, pretzels, and rolls. Okay, so we might love those Krispy Kremes and Dunkin', where we run on Dunkin'. Hey, I'm just saying. I'm not saying that I haven't eaten them, because I'll be telling you a lie, right? But what I'm saying is, we need to know what's in the food we're eating. And that's why this is why it's so important you can't eat everything, especially the stuff that is not good for you. You can avoid them altogether or have them minimally as possible, right? Minimally as possible. It's important to do these detoxes. It's important to take supplements that's going to remove heavy metals out of your body, that's going to improve your stress level, improve your stress levels, and detoxify the body, getting your rest, having your teas, such as burdock root, that helps with the lymphatic system. There's a list of things. And just to go over just a few of some of the things that can help you as far as detoxifying your body. You always hear me talk about turmeric, right? So if you can, even if you have your teas, you can add a little bit of turmeric powder, your organic turmeric powder, with a little bit of black pepper, and you can have that in your tea. It helps with the inflammation, as well as helping to reduce inflammation and help you with getting those toxins out, and it's good for your brain. Ginger and turmeric tea Peppermint tea is also good, green tea, as well as lemon tea and tulsi tea. Burdock root is a good one that I love. Burdock root is great as a blood purifier. Burdock root is great for helping with the lymph node, right? It removes toxins from the blood, and it stimulates bile production and help flush out those toxins and flushing out the liver. It helps to induce lymphatic drainage as well as detoxification. So burdock root tea. And cilantro, you have your foods such as cilantro. It helps to remove heavy metals from the body. Cilantro, you have your mint tea. I mean, there's so many different things, guys. I mean, the Creator has left an abundance of things for us to heal ourselves with, right? And so we just have to, do what we can. We do the best that we can with what we know. So sea moss, full of minerals, vitamins and minerals. Start making your little sea moss smoothies, making some sea moss, Irish sea moss. I recommend Irish sea moss. You don't want to buy the package that's full of the salt on it. Those are not the ones that you want. You want to get the good ones that does not have that, or of course organic. That's about it, guys. That is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please be sure to share, like, and subscribe. And until next time, bye for now.
If you are struggling with health issues like chronic pain, being held back by past traumas, or feeling overwhelmed and hopeless, please know there is hope. There is help. Transcendence, a woman's guide to healing and self-love for better health, happiness, and abundance, is a blueprint to help you get your life back and reclaim your health. Within its pages, you'll learn how to elevate your existence by shifting your mindset toward the positive, focusing your energy on what's really important, using gratitude to feel deep appreciation, changing your gene expression through epigenetics, building resilience, and living in a state of flow, feeling love overflow within. Go beyond an ordinary life. Transcend. Buy it now.
Thank you so much for listening to Health Coach for Women with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time.